video is about unit conversions. So the first thing I want you to do, I want you to go get a tape measure or a ruler or something with centimeters on it. And I want you to go measure a rectangular surface like a table or a kitchen counter or something. So go measure something, you know, moderately big in centimeters. Give me the length, give me the height or the width, and hit pause and go do that right now. Okay, now you've got your measurements. So I measured my dishwasher counter and the counter on top of my dishwasher, and it was, let's see, 61 centimeters by 145 centimeters. All right. So I want to know what the area of that counter is. Well, it's rectangular, so I just take the length times the width. So if I just multiply those two, the area of that counter is, what did I get? 88.45. And then what would the unit be? Well, centimeters times centimeters, centimeters squared. All right, so the area of that counter is 8,845 square centimeters. Now, 1 square centimeter is about the size of your thumbnail. So 1 square centimeter is your thumbnail or so. So is that reasonable? How many thumbprints could I put on a big counter? Yeah, okay, many thousands, yes, seems reasonable. Now I want to convert this. Let's convert this to something more reasonable for a big thing. Well, if we're measuring big things, we often want to measure in meters. So I want to convert this to meters. All right, so 1 meter is 100 centimeters. So if I take 8,845 centimeters squared, and it's a meter, 1 meter is 100 centimeters, well, I just divide by 100, so shouldn't that be, 100 is 2 decimal bumps over, 88.45 meters squared. All right, so again, is this reasonable? Well, 1 square meter is about this, you know, about this much. It's the size of a typical dining room table. So is my kitchen counter 88 dining room tables big? No. That's like the footprint of my house is that many square meters. So what's wrong? Why didn't this work? If 1 meter is 100 centimeters, and we want to go from centimeters to meters, divide by 100. Well, the problem is right here. That's squared. It's a squared unit, which means we have to square our conversion as well. This is 88.45 centimeters times centimeters. So if I then do a conversion from centimeters, get rid of the centimeters by putting 1 on bottom, put a meters on top, 1 meter is 100 centimeters. That's the number I did, and that's what got me that. But if you look at that, I'm only converting 1 of those centimeters. So this isn't 88.45 meters squared, it's 88.45 meters centimeters, which is nothing we care about. So how do I get to meters? Well, I do this again. So 1 meter, 100 centimeters, because then this centimeter cancels with that centimeters. I'm left with a meter on top times a meter. I'm left with meters squared. So I'm going to take this bloop, bloop, and then 2 more bloop, bloop, 0.8845 meters squared. All right, is that more reasonable? A little less than this for a kitchen counter. Absolutely. That is totally reasonable. 88 of those, nope. So when we're doing unit conversions, we have to be very careful when we have exponents. If it's squared or cubed or whatever, because if you think about volume or density, density is the mass over the volume, often kilograms per cubic meter, kilograms per meter cubed. So if we want to convert that to grams per centimeter cubed, we've got to be really careful. So that's one way I want to talk about unit conversion. And the other thing I want to talk about unit conversion is I'm going to give you an example of British units, or imperial units, and our good old metric units. So I have a smart car. And my husband and I fell in love with the smart car when we were traveling in Scotland. And we're like, whoa, this is awesome. But they were only available in Europe for quite a while. And in Europe, they talk about mileage differently than we do. So in Europe, we were told that the smart car is 6.5 liters per 100 kilometers. So that's what we were given for, let me just make sure, yeah, 6.5 liters per 100 kilometers. That didn't tell us anything useful about mileage for us in our British or imperial system. So how can we convert this to something that makes more sense? Well, what do we typically do mileage in? Miles per gallon. So we want to convert this to miles per gallon. And I'll just remind you, that means miles per gallon, so miles over gallon. All right, so let's do this conversion. If we look up our conversions between kilometers and miles and liters and gallons, all right, so it turns out that 1 mile is 1.6 kilometers and 1 gallon is 3.79 liters. All right, so there's our two conversion factors. So let's do the conversion. 6.5 liters over 100 kilometers. All right, so I gotta change the kilometers to miles. I wanna get rid of kilometers, which is in the bottom, so I gotta put that on top, which means there's my miles. And 1 mile is 1.6 kilometers. And now I gotta get rid of the liters, make that gallons. So liters on bottom, and I used a capital there. Let's fix that. Okay, that should be a capital L. So to get rid of liters on top, put liters on bottom, gallons on top, and 1 gallon is 3.79 liters. All right, so I'm converting liters to gallons, and I'm converting kilometers to miles. So let's do that calculation. All right, so grab your calculator and do it. Real quick. What do you get? I'm gonna guess you're getting something not reasonable. When I did that calculation, I got, let's see, 0.0274. And that is not a reasonable mileage, is it? So again, what did we do wrong? This is why we need to check our answers always for reasonableness. All right, so what did we do wrong? Well, we got rid of the liters and made that gallons. We got rid of the kilometers and made that miles. I think I put the right numbers in the right place. 1 mile is 1.6 kilometers. 1 gallon is 3.79 liters. So where's the mistake? Let's look at our units. Let's look at those units. We get rid of the liters and we get rid of the kilometers. What are we left with? We are left with gallons over miles. We are not in miles per gallon, we're gallons per mile. So how do we get to miles per gallon, which is something more reasonable that we know about? Well, all you have to do is flip it. So if we have 0.0274 gallons per mile, we're just going to take 1 over that. Because if you do 1 over gallons per mile, that's going to give you miles per gallon. So do 1 over 0.0274, and you're going to come up with something much more reasonable for mileage. You're going to come up with 36 or so, about 36 miles per gallon. And that's totally a reasonable mileage. So when you're doing unit conversions, you have to be careful about a bunch of things. It's not just making sure you've got the right conversion factors. It's making sure that you look and say, have I taken care of all the units? And did I put them in the right place? Did I end up with the right thing in the right place? So that's true for exponents. That's true for just making sure what's on top should be on top, what's on bottom should be on bottom. And that's your quick unit conversion video for you.